Wonderful people, I'm Charlotte Chi. So today, as the system is completely collapsing, let's talk about what triggers your attention most is seeing, willing to see what is truly happening, what is going on, and thus your interest in the capstone of creation that holds the all-seeing eye, the first eye, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the seventh, the eighth, and it goes on. Did you know it goes on? Because actually the capstone of creation is something that we embody in our brain within celestial body. So for those moving really along with their own alignment to their source, the spark, the spirit, and uplifting energies like never before. If you want to raise your vibration, that is really the time to do right now. The time is right now to raise your vibration, meaning you uplift and you refine your cellular construction back into the origin of your DNA. The origin of your DNA is the composition of authenticity, which is pure sound and light. And in between sound and light is loads and loads and loads or many miles to go back into the crystallization of the body, Christ consciousness, all the way up to Buddha consciousness, and thus wearing the crystal skulls. So from now on, as the system is collapsing, and so the light is trembling a forward movement beyond the old system, which was the chakra system and its killing field, so removing the chakra system, moving in to the pillars of light in which all those technology resides, such as the all-seeing eye, languages of light, pictographs, ideographs, hearing from like 10 miles away from you. You can all manage to do that even on a daily level. And so this is truly the year we move full-time out of anything old of any soul degree, which is pure ego, because it was soul consciousness. Even that term, reading that term, would get your vibration very, very low, and living truly beyond that particular matrix term, the crystalline grids that squeeze it and that is grounding on the earth with the entire planet, with its conglomeration of high-level technology that we can incorporate with the integration of its apps, the application of technology, application of light languages, application of ways, application of numbers, application of sacred designs or geometric patterns that are very, very individual, is where we are at, along with moving into the alchemy, or bringing the body up to a level beyond the sixth dimension, which is the degrees into the celestial bodies, where you can no longer feel what is going on, you can no longer hear it, yet you can see what is going on to keep yourself informed, so you know what to delete in your environment, your home, your connection, your entire authentic persona. And so self-identity changes all of the time, because that is evolution. And thus we have put people not interested at all in opening the all-seeing eye, not interested at all in refining their light embodiment, all that you are, all that you know, your skills, your talents, your capacity, your passion for creation, because we're all creators. And so as the planet is, let's say the planet Earth is pulsing all of the time, and it's pulsing into its higher degrees, and so we pulse with it, and with it comes the delete button to anything we did know from birth on. such as birding into ego soul or the matrix, which was actually a very painful, dark place. When you come from the light realms and from birth you are birded, and I remember my birth. I remember people looking over me, and I was even speaking to them as a small entity on the planet, like, get out of my way, because I was smelling the earth and everything that stinks in their perfume in the hospital, and their thoughts have a very bad smell when they are dark, and we are moving right here into sensing that. If you upload your higher senses and moving into the fourth, fifth, sixth, seven, eight, nine, 10 senses, there's also much beautiful pleasures coming to you, and with it comes instant manifestation. So removing yourself from the collapsing system and moving into your light body, if you wanted, not the old light body teaching, not the old way to uplift you, because today with chemistry or alchemy, you change overnight, you change every day. All you need is having that light body that is equal to the parallel universes, so also equal to those in the parallel universes, which are all the light masters, all the angelic kingdoms, all the light species. Think of the animals in the seas and so on, the giants, I don't know what's out there, but you can perfectly see them crystal clear. I start to see them every day right now, because I worked a lot on it, because it's my passion to return into my authenticity and to teach it to people in order to remove them from any sort of captivity, malfunctioning, the degrees of fear, the degrees of manipulation, control. We all brooded in the control syndrome, and when the control is collapsing right now, it doesn't mean that you collapse with it. You have the opportunity, everybody on the planet has the opportunity to move right out of the matrix, the collapsing system, and move yourself back into a light body that has a composition of light waves, breathing light technology, breathing the breath of light, the breath of source, the breath of the omniversal, going with the new antennas, because everything has been repaired, and integrating that every day. I think there's a lot of people not understanding how important it is to have a great structure and never waver from that great structure, which is at least start your morning ritual with at least an hour of integration, and allow your laziness to flip out the door, which could be essentially the first thing to delete out of your consciousness, and then the body will let go of it as well. But therefore, you need your breath into the breath of light, because the breath that is streaming on soul consciousness will not possibly get you there. And so you don't see changes. You just, sit there like the TM meditation that is so extremely boring, getting people in a nowhere land. We are here right now to experience alchemy, to remove the brakes actually on the soul genes, and move into our spiritual gene pool, and reconnecting with every new capacity we have out there. So alchemy goes very fast. It deletes old consciousness very fast with a lot of technology that has been restored, such as, for example, symbols I have here on a lot of my apparel. these symbols have been repaired. This one, for example, is the Maltese cross, or you know, the Knights of the First Orders. These are teams, and new teams have been created. New crystalline grids have been created just for us. Imagine that, to lift ourselves into higher consciousness as the bridge, let's say, from a soul embodiment into the celestial embodiment and universal embodiment. That space was far too high, and so what came through is the delete button to the chakra system, the creation of the pillars of light, moving with the first 12 tribes and teams of Israel, opening up the first 12 ways of creation through the heart. And with that system that is right here, which is this celestial system, then you have a small bridge to make into the crystalline skull, the light language, the all-seeing eye, all you ever wanted. And that is available, and that takes a light embodiment to be incorporated and moving into the eternal self, the eternal healing, far beyond anything termed Reiki, because it doesn't move you forward, it doesn't remove the aging, it doesn't get you permanently out of the matrix, it doesn't do the healing like very severe illnesses. Alzheimer is actually the easiest way to heal, for example, but the highest level of sickness is actually created in the womb of creation, your sacral center. Once that moves into the pillar of light, so you move the chakra and you feel your breath throughout your entire body. When you breathe, you feel it here, you feel where your intention goes. And then the healing comes from within the eternal technology that can be learned at a very, very fast pace. So for those who want it, because there's people that want to remain in hurt and not want to know about their own authenticity, which is light and sound. So there is no platform that will allow the adjustments into an celestial body without getting the technology in. And then again, technology, light body, and healing, and becoming an eternal healer yourself, removing yourself first from all these layers of captivity, malfunctioning, trauma, diseases, name it. It was all, you know, very intentional by these dark forces, and we have been living this for many, many ages. So this is the demarcation line. There's these people, we have people who want to stay in the herd, and so they will experience whatever these dark forces want to do with you. That's just one thing. There's people that do live in divine will, so removing yourself out of free will right into divine will is already an option when setting your crystalline grid and moving yourself out of the old with at least a breathing system that assists you to breathe crystalline light instead of breathing density in supermarkets, in the world around you, in your house, wherever you go. If you stop breathing density and replace it by the eternal healing breath, the immortal breath, whatever, that is a technology. There is a very easy 5 days online here if you want that, or the larger one that goes over 3 months. But then again, you become an eternal healer. You remove every nonsense from your body. So there's not even time left to think about removing animal foods. I mean, that should be crystal clear, embedded in the brain. There is no way going with animal food. It is the refinement of the body. A light body doesn't take it, or you'll have to throw up. If you move yourself in higher vibration, which is fun because you need, like a few hours sleep, and you have plenty of time to align to the divine. and we place everything that is not in light environment, starting with your home, starting with clearing the closets, because it's very important. If you have still clothes in your closet, in your environment, in your breathing systems that are like 5 years old, or even some people 20 years old, that is worse, because it keeps your energy from evolving. It keeps it very dense, very low, and so any effort you make in the matrix, in soul consciousness, is useless, because you don't move forward. And I think many people must have experienced that. Whatever you do in soul consciousness is running cycles, doing healing after healing perhaps, and getting out of that. That is your choice. That is perfect. Then we'll see each other on the other side anyways, where you will have the choice to go to another planet, because planet Earth is moving into light and will only allow people refining their light body, as the masters have grounded on the earth, are walking around already, and many entities, just as the entity you know as Jesus, which is now Archangel Zachary, you know Martin Luther King Jr., you know Gandhi, you know Moses, which is now Mordecai, you know the prophet Elijah. They all have large projects on the planet, because there is a reason why the planet did not collapse, why it was held back from collapsing out of the universe. It is because with everything that broke the planet, actually, the broken grids, the crystalline grids, the meridians around the planet, to which we all have to reconnect and fuse them in with our acupuncture points in the body. This is not only a necessity, it is an essential thing for you to move forward, because if you want to move in unity, all these grid ley lines moving diagonal, reconnecting one grid into the higher grid, that is how you lift vibration from celestial into your universal self, your universal embodiment, and move that into the capstone. Refine, get the crystallization alchemy down, and you open your eyes like you may be in shock to see how the manipulation and malfunctioning actually works. And with that happening now, comes also that those living in the high degrees of herd consciousness, following anything to which or whom they gave their power away, and believing that, we will see those brains collapsing as well. We will see a lot of brains that were intelligence, manipulative, or whatever, will not function, will not be able to function at that particular rapid pace. So they will find themselves like in the gutter, and many people will experience a lot more like memory loss. They will experience like Alzheimer diseases will grow in numbers very fast, and it depends on the purity of your body, of course. But many people not living in light embodiment and crystallization, the crystal skull, crystallizing the bones, the body, the skin, everything, getting into your authenticity and thus light technology, then it opens from within the heart. From within the heart, you continuously open up telepathic wavelengths and connected to stations actually. So with the collapse comes that more and more people dig into 5G, and when you do that, that will burn the brain away, and that is what will happen very fast as well. So we need a lot more people in light consciousness, light configuration, eternal healers willing to do the work and willing to take courses in how, first and foremost, heal themselves, become a healer, set up programs for themselves. You will be assisted with it, getting your own assignments and placing the crystalline grids in certain places where you live. So it's very important worldwide to have more and more people assisting with the entire process. Those who do will, of course, stream and see all the light workers, stream and see all the masters, stream and see into a very high vibration. You will actually require less and less and less food. You will require less and less input or efforts. You will open up to many more skills on a daily level, many more talents, many more creative capabilities from which you thought they were never possible actually. And so there is this great need as the collapse. So we have the choice, and the choice is always free will or divine will. So removing free will, I did this 20 years ago, and I would never want to go back into free will. Free will states I do whatever I want. I bring in my body whatever I want. I listen to the so-called controllers because I have already lost my self-empowerment, myself not knowing what the self is. Then again, everybody gets its last opportunity to make this choice. Why? No. Get into some education, get into this light body training, the Eternal Healer Self Mastery. 70% off if you want it now, and you get a bonus with me into the Pillar of Light. But at least you have 22 MP3s to heal yourself, or to heal the nonsense of the malfunctioning out of your cells, the debris out. And that what is actually happening is that the crystalline grid starting out with, I think many remember the Garden of Eden. The new Garden of Eden is being opened in your sacral plexus, and regrowing the fruits, regrowing the herbs, regrowing the flowers, the trees, everything that collapsed with the density of plastics and synthetics. So removing yourself from synthetic feeding, so no medication whatsoever. And even the water, I place crystals in my water. I don't trust anyone anymore. Or if you have fresh spring water, that would even be better. And so there is a lot to think about. But then again, the celestial body, and moving into that from a light body environment, you move with the 12 tribes of Israel, you move with all the masters, and you get into the reunion with gatherings, and that are official meetings where you are required to move into a high level capacity in your brain with the intelligence and the knowledge. So opening the gates into knowledge, opening the gates into intelligence. I mean, there is no end. I could speak like for 24 days without sleep on videos and explaining it. But then again, you need a course to get you there. So for those who have worked with light embodiment in the eternal self, then I do one-on-one for the integration of these celestial bodies, so you can move forward very fast, working with crystalline grid, because new crystalline grids are being grounded and downloaded for you to work with, to get into the Omni Eye, to get into the Eye of the Tiger, to get into the Omni Beyond Eye, to work with the universal scientific light astronomers and scientists and physicians, to recreate the body into a new light body. So anything that was like 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years ago doesn't work anymore. And still people, most, they're just so contradicting themselves. Like, you need to remove out of the old, but hey, I don't have technology, I just repeat that for a few years more. That is crazy, right? If you can't explain it, then why even open your mouth? So there are, of course, multiple tracings of light to connect with multiple centers of growth in your body. So it's really the regeneration, the rejuvenation, and the regrowth of every cell that was gone in the malfunctioning, or let's say the manipulation and control to get you into in slavery, that is being removed and moves those cells into the origin, which are light waves. So we can all move the skin, the body, whatever, into light waves. And of course, through light waves, you feel like when you talk to people, you feel like a giant, like people become so small. It's very, very funny. I experienced this a few times, so that is what happens. Therefore, the brain must truly be trained. Wiring, that is easy, and that doesn't get you very far. It is truly the retraining and the application or integration of new technology, which are codes, which are geometric patterns, but very, very easy. An example here is, I saw this morning, like I opened a pillar of light into all universes with my universal body, blah blah. And so I integrate like for 1 hour at least while healing out old soul consciousness that broke me, old languages of light that don't work anymore. Just the delete button, because the problem of everything, every shortage, every problem you may have is truly in your root. And when moving into the pillar, your pillar of light, your heart and high heart center gets into extreme immunity to density or negativity or whatever disease. And so it is that opening that root and reinstalling up into the Garden of Eden, that is technology through the sacredness of the divine, and not the creation of children on the planet. So that was, I have talked about it in many videos, I think, was never meant to be, because actual creation comes from the breath. If you want the all-seeing eye to open up into the omni eye, and you really want to see how creation works, then we need to retrain that, we need to relearn that, and we need to be open into eliminating, first and foremost, laziness, stubbornness, and resistances. From there on, I mean, deleting fears like the easiest thing there is actually. But of course, it's been held back. Like, if they can hold anything back and implement fear, that's what they will do. Because they want to take over your brain. So if you let them, those things can happen. And so let's say the brain needs to be trained to handle very complex ideographs, pictographs, ideas that are formulas to recreate a light planet, to recreate light cities. Can you imagine light cities? Nothing stinks like hell. Everything is crystal clear. There's hardly any garbage. There's gardens, like miles of beautiful gardens smelling with massive herbs and flowers and foods, the ambrosia, the foods of the gods. That will come back. I sense in my own body, like these days, I hardly need any food because my body is transitioning into the light. Its options are up. The divine is grounding, and people will feel very nauseous. They feel like they're going out of their mind, very, very crazy. They feel like their intelligence ain't working anymore. Loads of Alzheimer. So we all have the choice to move into the crystalline skulls, crystalline intelligence, and to handle light processes and having huge fun, because the origin of creation is having fun every day, creating, recreating, and training your ears into massive audio coupling, hearing the sounds of the universe of color and many indexes. So when you live continuously in an atmosphere of low indexes, such as fear, self-manipulation, be careful with that, and those things like, it's not even real for me anymore, but I know it's there. Many people suffering from breath disease and disease. I'm a champion at healing your breath. It takes work. Takes like 3 sessions, opening your spine, opening your lungs, opening the heart circulation, opening all the arteries within for you to be able to breathe light versus breathing garbage. That is, that is very clear way to state it. So those tracings of light, such as through geometries, you receive a crystal clear brain, and that brain is in alignment with a pillar, and that pillar of light in your heart center opens up with so your Makiva and massive, like this picture, that is your light embodiment, and each way within it has massive capacity for light magic, light manifestations on an everyday level. So you can convert light without fail into many color cybernetical sets, phonetic sets actually, and tone languages, such as working with Hebrew and the Chinese characters. So in this introduction course, you have an introduction to opening up the alchemy with some languages of light and massive healing that comes with it, because the process of receiving, of reception, will actually project the right receptivity for your light and open up new perceptions beyond perceptions, and always lift your vibration higher and higher and higher, depending on the work you are willing to put in that, because that is very, very important. It depends on your integrative work. And so we can see that at least we need to start from the mid-level, mid-7-dimensional level, and there is the upper 7 dimension of the 8. That is where we have arrived, removing ourselves on a daily level from soul consciousness into spirit consciousness, removal of the malfunctioning of anything that was implemented like ego. And that is very, very important to understand, if we are willing to understand and do not refuse the divine, because that is also something very important to take into account. So the projected languages are actually instructions. They instruct your brain to delete stuff you need to deal with ease and grace. So there is massive guilt coming to the surface, and allowing yourself to eliminate that very fast and quickly. We all have levels of guilt and fear and self-manipulation and resistance, and name it, the list is so long. But with this new embodiment, moving celestial, you will move very fast, you heal very fast, you change the entire environment, because that is the goal of spirit. And so once your brain is activated, you can remove mind manipulation. So it was never the intention of the divine to allow the mind. Just having a brain is quite enough with your spirit, your spark, and your direct connect with your source. But as your direct connect to your source was the first thing they broke, because if you can't communicate with your source, you can't communicate with species out there, then we can. take you in captivity and have us listen to us, and that is what actually happens. So now the gates are very, very open to telepathic waves, all those radio waves, and opening up new forms of light, opening and recreating light cities, light universities, light educations for all ages. That is where we are heading. So here the choice is really to make today, because we are going to feel the demarcation very, very strong for everybody. You will feel it in your brain, you will feel it in your stomach, you will feel what, if you go backwards and not forward, that is when you live in density of the matrix of the soul. So we need to remove all that low galactic consciousness and various controls in the body, move into the degrees of the creator self, and ask the divine, communicate with the divine, what is being required from you. Maybe they require you to travel around and teach youth, or teach in every elderly home on the planet, because those people need to be helped. You can help them get out of the malfunctioning of their brains, their Alzheimer, their diseases, get them out of medication whatsoever, because we actually all have been prepared, all souls on the planet have been prepared for many years to move into divine ladders and the education into the creative states, which are actually stage of consciousness that you get design per design. You see very, very beautiful pictures in your pillar opening up. Like, I'll give you an example. I'm very concerned about the animal kingdom, so the least I can do is hold a grid so they can transition without fear to the other side. Like animals dying because people still choose to eat them, right? And holding a grid for them, also other animals, of course. And you need to know what color is it. Is that orange? Is that blue? Is that gold? You need to have a name for it, and then you can hold it. And so there's so many grids. So I'm not able to cover that up here, but it would take a few hours to explain. So that's not the goal. So, and with it comes geometries. I can heal from here into many miles ahead and fuse those energies opening up. I had this beautiful grid that was actually a Celtic knot, and around it were nothing but black panthers. That is very high intelligence. It's a team that is one of the very highest teams on the planet that are performing very high technology. Light technology has nothing to do with consciousness that goes in lower degrees. In the middle of that Celtic knot, I had a white lion, and I work with these species, so I communicate telepathically, and I see them circling around that Celtic knot, so I ask for that meaning. Then from there on opens that kind of pure crystal clear lotus flow, where I ask what I can do. And so they told me, pull in the ley lines so you reconnect, open that platform, ground that in a crystalline grid, and place it in that or that country, right? That is how it works. And with it comes another geometric pattern. So I didn't really like the term, like what we have around us is actually a diamond of light. And I said, I want a new word. Bam! It comes. Here is your new word. It's a cube of light. It's a blue cube connected to the blue universe. It is complete detachment, elimination, allowing the blow of the old out of your system. And with it comes greater, higher consciousness. When you completely detach, you allow the opening into telepathic waves. You open your own channel. You channel your own information. And of course, it takes work. But when you move with these integration, like I'm talking, you just breathe them through one by one, and you have a whole list. And from 1 month into the other, you create a new list of integrations. then you start to be authentic, then you start to have fun every day, then you start to create new things, and you will definitely know what to do. What we see on the Google machine, especially a lot on YouTube, is if you look at those channeling information, like for the astrological belt, I call it or term this a killing field. That is actually one repetition after the other, one after the other in the astral soul fields. The astral planes are the killing fields, are the matrix. And so if you look at a video for one of those signs and you look at that particular progression over 12 months, there's no progression. They stay the same, circulate the same, may apply new words, but there's no news. And that is why the soul is collapsing, opening up into spirit consciousness. And therefore we must see, truly see, that the physical universe was truly shaped by divine letters, divine sound, and light and sound, or letters, is actually shaped by light. Sound is shaped by light. Geometry is shaped by light. Designs I get in my heart, it's only like a year ago I would get them in the energy field. No, everything flows from here. I did remove my chakra system, still working on it, as it takes daily efforts, of course. But then you start to vibrate at the speed of light, and you keep on removing things, at least start with removing everything out of the house that is, you never actually pay attention to, or you never utilize, or whatever. Start with your clothing, start with your kitchen, your bathroom, I guess, in the garage, the attic. There is a lot. And so, because without it, your body will not never ever move into a higher vibration, because one thing moves with the other. If one thing in your energy field is out of harmony, you cannot harmonize with the higher degrees in light consciousness, conversing with the divine, getting your own information, because divine languages of light can quicken your body to live at higher scales and going into instant manifestations immediately. I had plenty doses of instant manifestations last week, as the old system is collapsing, the new is opening, and residing permanently without fail in the new, and always getting back there. If we wobble a bit, that's part of the process. I wobble a bit as well, but at least I do the work in the morning and before bedtime, so at least 2 hours a day. And then you become that living, streaming light sound configuration, opening up, working on the many eyes. Loading the eyes can only happen in a crystalline grid, and having at least a home crystalline grid. And from there on, you can work with massive other grids that I teach as well. There is no way opening any eye if too lazy to open, to clear out your spaces, your house, your environment, or businesses. Then clearing out your body, knowing the technology, applying it, and then starting to work with all the higher senses opening. The crystalline skull that entails the crystalline eyes, the crystallization into crystal clear eyes, that entails crystalline hearing, that entails crystalline seeing, that entails crystalline dialoguing, and thus Christ consciousness is the crystallization of actually everything you embody. And with it comes the holy scriptures that are returning, and we are the ones that need to write the new tablet stone. We have all old scriptures within us that pertain only to you, that are very, very individual. So if you understand that, and getting scriptures down, to restore the planet back into its place in the galaxies, in the universes, because it plays a part in many other universes that broke, or systems in the galaxies that also broke, and with the restoration of planet Earth, those systems will restore as well with us, and thus that quickening pace is coming through. Why? No, it is intended, it is divine will, it is divine timing. Set your shoes, set your vibration on divine will into the omnistations of waiting crystalline energies instead of the trash of the earth. Remove everything from your home, from your temple of light, because you know the highest level of experience here, or how you can change perspective, is think about if you breathe through energies that uplift, that delete the old and integrate the new, of course, because both need to move with parallel universes, so we see everything inside out. We work in teams, these teams lift us up. Then you can imagine if you have loads and loads of trash in your home, if you have loads of trash in your body, meaning synthetic food, synthetic consciousness, synthetic everything, and you never cleared your intestinal tracts, your liver, your stomach, your neurological content, and all that, you can imagine if your attic and your office, your home, the cellar, whatever you have, is piled with stinking stuff, that divine light needs to move through that in order to get to you, to get into your temple of light and integrate the divine energy up there. Then you can realize that you can change perspective very quickly and realize that that is the highest degrees of disrespect you can have for the light, for your authentic self, your origin, because you were created out of light of stone, and we are all getting back into those creations. We need to relearn it, we need to re-educate it, and we need to spread that word. And this is the time when the word will work, but you need to put yourself all back into the mechanics of the word, because that is never lying, speaking the truth, holding the truth grids, opening up your throat to truth, and integrating codes of light with languages of light, with colors, with sounds, with magic. And so you understand that that would be very disrespectful not to clear at least your house and then start clearing yourself. And that is when your energy will start to lift yourself up. That is where your life can like change 360 degrees. That is a choice, and choices are to be made right now, beginning of April. Make your choices well. Those who want some help, I do a lot of one-on-one, even seminars, and or check out that course, that long course over 3 months change. You can do it even in 1 month for the hard workers, and I have another just 5-day overhaul, at least placing yourself in the crystalline grids, opening up to the breath of light and releasing the old, so at least you have some protective calibration, because crystals cannot work that much without a crystalline grid, because crystalline grids are the home of crystals. So if you only wear crystals to delete old technology, old nonsense out of the body, old light body teachings, that will work like this little. And it comes from the divine, and so we need to return with obedience to the divine, because that is divine will. Divine will states you will always get the best of spirit whenever you invest your energy into it, and spirit will give you back as much as you desire, and with it comes magical lifestyles and embodiment, of course. So let me know in the comments if you have the urge, the drive to move into light body, but perhaps you don't know where to start, or let me know what you do already when it comes to light languages, eliminating the old soul or ego. So, or what you may think about quick healings, the magic of chemistry, alchemy. That is what I will be talking about a lot. So then I have those individuals. I have a lot of onlines, a lot of meditations. So check it out if you are interested. So for now, make the best choice you can or request some assistance to get you out of the old lifestyles once and for all. And why is that vibration in no time? Thank you so much for being with me. Thank you for your heart composition. Thank you for subscribing, liking, supporting my channel, because that is really the opening from heart to heart, spark to spark, that is going to matter from now on, and we will see it more and more every day. So those residing in divine will of course be lifted with divine will people in the light configuration. There is no fear whatsoever involved ever. So thank you so much. I truly appreciate your input and your assistance, because if you comment, mind, like it, and share my videos, then we can get out of the old malfunctioning of algorithms on YouTube. Thank you so much. I'm Charlotte Chi for the Voice of Evolution and the new light cities on this planet. All right, thank you.